Thank you.
Community in Hampton Roads, James City County strives to maintain a high quality of life for all citizens through sound fiscal management and legislative actions. In an ongoing effort to increase transparency, your Board of Supervisors holds public meetings to garner citizen input before making important decisions. Here is tonight's meeting agenda. Stay tuned. The Board of Supervisors meeting will begin shortly.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the James City Service Authority Board of Directors regular meeting. Tonight, Ms. Luton is standing in for Doug Powell, who is ill. Ms. Luton, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Wainwright. Here. Dreisnauer.
Here.
Larson.
Here.
Here.
Is there any public comment tonight? Okay, on the consent calendar, tonight's consent calendar consists of the following items. Number 1, Smart Irrigation Controller Rebate Program, and number 2, minutes adoptions. If no one wishes to pull an item.
Move the consent calendar.
Let's see.
Wainwright.
Aye.
Dreisnauer.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Ms. Null.
Aye. We have no public hearings tonight, ma'am. Okay,
No, ma'am.
board considerations. Number 1, 5-year strategic plan for fiscal years 2027 through 2031 adoption. Would you please give the staff
Yes, ma'am.
presentation?
Thank you. Good afternoon. The attached proposed 5-year strategic plan for fiscal years 27 through 2031 for JCSA is our first independent organizational plan designed to match operations and budgets with our goals for the next 5 years. This is part of our organizational evolution to greater independence. The plan is brief, action-oriented with measurable outcomes and focused on specific issues important to JCSA. Future budgets will be based on the goals established in the plan. The 5 main goals are address water supply constraints, ensure wastewater system growth and adaptability, maintain a positive customer experience, attract, develop, and retain talent, and continue transition to independence. Staff recommends approval of the attached resolution adopting the JCSA's 5-year strategic plan for fiscal years 27 through 31.
Do you have any questions for staff? Discussion?
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say that I appreciate the strategic vision and also the budget moving from the strategic plan and back to the strategic plan. So
Yes,
I
it's
think
all-
that's really important.
It's echoing the way that the county does it.
Great, thank you. So I'll move the strategic plan.
Wainwright. Mr. Eisenhower.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Ms. Null.
Aye. Number 2, high priority inflow and infiltration reduction program agreement with Hampton Roads Sanitation District.
This high-priority inflow and infiltration reduction program agreement with HRSD is part of our ongoing efforts to comply with our consent agreement responsibilities. Back in 2007, the board authorized the JCSA to enter into a consent agreement with the Virginia DEQ in order to address sewer system overflows. And That's abbreviated SSO. That's what you see in the memo is that abbreviation. At that time, 13 other Hampton Roads localities entered into similar agreements. And then in 2014, the JCSA entered into a memorandum of agreement with HRSD. And under this MOA, HRSD is responsible for implementing what is called the Regional Wet Weather Management Plan. And the goal of that plan is to reduce these sewer system overflows through a combination of rehab work on pipes and also upsizing lift stations. That's known as capacity. Then in 2018, the board voted to approve a first amendment to this memorandum of agreement with HRSD, whereby HRSD accepted responsibility and liability for all of the regional wet weather sewer system overflows earlier than had originally been planned in that memorandum of agreement. And when we talk about these SSOs, and you see in the title of this item, you see the words inflow and infiltration. This is basically stormwater and groundwater getting into the sewer system through seepage, cracks in pipes, cracks in manholes. So what HRSD has to do is they have to come up with a plan to actually fix these leaky pipes. So this regional wet weather management plan identifies basins, they're called sewer lift station basins. It identifies basins throughout Hampton Roads that need to be fixed now because those repairs would be the most cost effective. 4 of the 7 basins in HRSD's high priority plan to fix are in the JCSA sewer service area. So this attached agreement that we're asking for your approval to execute, it details JCSA responsibilities and HRSD responsibilities for these repairs. And HRSD will design the repairs, they will pay for the repairs, and they will actually supervise the construction of these repairs. The repairs can be done on both JCSA infrastructure and HRSD infrastructure. And the agreement spells out how we're going to cooperate with HRSD to make this happen. Now, JCSA engineering and management staff have reviewed the agreement, as also has the county attorney has reviewed it. So everybody's looked at it. It looks to be a good agreement. They're going to use our design standards. So staff recommends approval of the attached resolution authorizing Mr. Powell to execute the agreement with HRSD. I will say that HRSD's commission approved this agreement at their January 27th meeting.
Excellent presentation.
Move the approval.
Ms. Wainwright.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan. Ms. Knoll.
Okay, next, pay plan revision, steps, and expansion.
This item focuses on the fact that recruiting and retaining staff with the knowledge needed for water and sewer utility work is an ongoing challenge because these skilled employees are in high demand in the workplace. JCSA introduced a step pay plan in fiscal year 25 that was designed to address this challenge by providing regularly scheduled wage increases throughout an employee's career in addition to the annual cost of living increases. The plan has definitely improved JCSA's employee retention rate. Currently, the pay plan has 17 grades, and each grade has 26 steps, reflecting up to 25 years of employee service. The item before you is, the purpose of this item is to add 5 steps to this pay plan, and the goals are to promote equity for long-term employees, better match typical retirement time frames in VRS. We all know that there's the 30 years is the full retirement, reduce possible salary compression within grades, and increase career growth opportunities. So in the attachment, you can see the proposed plan would have 31 steps reflecting up to 30 years of employee service. Staff recommends approval of the resolution authorizing the pay plan revisions in the attachment.
Any questions from staff?
I would comment. I think, if memory serves me correctly, every time we go to one of your events and we have retirement ceremonies, you have some really long tenured employees. And
Yes.
it's wonderful to see people who want to stay for the long haul like that. So I think this is a good step in incentivizing and rewarding those folks for staying and doing the job.
That's the hope, Mr. Eisenhower. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would just share also that as I shared with Mr. Powell earlier this week, I have a friend who works for another locality near who has, their locality has not expanded their steps, and he just working with no additional pay, which can get very demoralizing. So I appreciate you all looking at that. And with that, I will move the pay plan revision steps expansion.
Let's go, we can call the roll, please.
Aye.
Eisenhower.
Aye.
Larson.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
Aye. Okay, setting a public hearing fiscal year 2027 utility rates.
The proposed fiscal year 2027 budget contains proposed changes to the water service rates and the water and sewer fixed charges. And these changes reflect the 5-year plan that was presented to the board last year, and that was a result of the rate study. Every 5 years, our financial policy requires us to have a rate study. So we created a plan, and this would be year 2 of the plan, and we're going to stick with the plan. There are several other proposed increases. One would be to flat sewer rates. The other would be to facility fees, where growth pays for growth. And finally, a change to the grinder pump maintenance agreement fee. Staff recommends that the board authorize an advertisement of a public hearing on April 14th for changes to these rates. The board can change the advertised rates anytime during its subsequent discussions.
I will move setting a public hearing for fiscal year 2027 utility rates.
Ms. Wainwright.
Aye.
Eisenhower.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Ms. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
May I have a motion to amend the board's adopted meeting calendar to add the rescheduled retreat, which we just did, right?
No,
the retreat, I'm
We
sorry.
need to
No,
take a
but
retreat.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Wainwright.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
Aye. Board requests and directives? I do remember that when we set the rates last year for the 5 years, what we did, our suggestion was to add them up and divide them evenly across, which we did, which to me is much better, because that's what we, instead of scaring people to death and going up and down like this, so we took them all together. So I thought that was great, and to see it again, hasn't changed, so good, thank you. Comments, any more comments? No?
done an excellent job this evening.
Yes, you have, Stephanie. And General Manager's update, February 26th, dashboard report.
Nothing,
That was
nothing that really jumps
Yeah.
out. Everything's good.
Okay.
Move to adjourn
move-
until 8:30 a.m. on February 24th, 2026 for the JCSA Board Retreat.
Aye.
Eisenhower.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting is closed. Thank you.
We call this meeting of the James City County Board of Supervisors to order for the purpose of our regular meeting. Mr. Stevens, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Wainwright?
Here.
Ms. Wainwright represents the Powhatan District. Ms. Knoll?
Present.
Ms. Knoll represents the Stonehouse District. Mr. Eisenhower?
Here.
Mr. Eisenhower represents the Jamestown District. Ms. Larson?
Here.
Ms. Larson represents the Berkeley District and is Vice Chair to the Board. Mr. McGlinnan?
Here.
Mr. McGlinnan represents the Roberts District and is Chair to the Board. Sitting to my far left is Adam Kinsman, County Attorney. I'm Scott Stevens, County Administrator, and it's my pleasure to be Clerk to the Board.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. We normally start our meeting with a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we usually ask a young person in the community to lead that Pledge of Allegiance. The routine of our normal practice is disrupted this evening. We do not have that young person, but fortunately we have some other young people here who are being recognized for their excellent work by the Historical Commission. And so I'd ask if the three winners who are here representing our three public high schools would lead us in the pledge. We'll jump right in as soon as you get started. After we give you the high sign after our moment of silence. So if you just come on down to the
You come right
Podium.
down to the podium.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job.
Thank you very much, and we'll look forward to hearing a little bit more about you later on. Before we get started onto the agenda, let me announce that the applicant for the Westwood Park rezoning case is requesting a deferment of this case to a later date. Because we have advertised a public hearing, I will be opening the public hearing this evening, and I will keep it open. You may speak tonight if you wish, but if you speak tonight, you may not speak at the meeting that will be held subsequently. So I would encourage you to perhaps wait until that opportunity arises, but if anybody wants to speak tonight, they are certainly welcome to do so. I just wanted to announce that to you in advance so that those of you who are here specifically for that purpose, that case will not be discussed this evening, and we will move it to April 14th. Okay. All right, thank you. We now have a presentation, and Mark Jakubowski of our Historical Commission is here to give us some very good news.
Thank you very much, Administrator Stevens, Chairman McGlennon, ladies and gentlemen of the Board of Supervisors. Mark Jakubowski here. I chair the Historical Commission for the county, and every year, as most of you know, we have our annual Historical Commission Student Essay Contest and Awards. This is for our fall submissions that we received. We put several topics out for students to choose from, and this goes to students that are homeschooled, private schooled, and of course in the public schools of James City County. So first, what I'd like to do is, as typical, is start with the third place winner, who basically chose the essay for James City County Cities Railroads. The Forgotten Shaper of James City County was the question. And this one was submitted by Mr. Asher Sohani. Is Asher here? Oh, come on up. So I would say that this was tough. This year, multiple submissions. Where's Linda? From online? Okay. Good. Second place. This student wrote on the effect and legacy of African American schools in Williamsburg, James City County. Another one that history is difficult. There's a lot of research that went into this to be able to provide this. And the second place winner is Gulam Fissa. Is Gulam here? And now, first place winner. This student answered the essay question on educating against resistance, the fight for African American schools. Another very, very tough topic, I have to say. The commission did not make it easy this year. As you've probably known, you've seen the Francis Berkeley question now 2 times. But this one was tough. And I have to say, very, very well done, outstanding from Eleanor Chen. And we'll make sure that second place gets their certificate and their scholarship money. I'd like to thank the Board of Supervisors for the opportunity to do this. This is probably about the most fun thing that I get to do in the county. So thank you once again very much. Thanks.
Well, thanks to you and to the Historical Commission, Mr. Jackowski. Appreciate it very much. We now move on to public comment. First is Donnie McDaniel. Donnie.
Hello, Donnie McDaniel, Community of Faith Mission, 1781 Jamestown Road. And Mr. Eisenhower, I had a pleasure of meeting your wife, and she gave me lots of underwear. Only somebody that's a director of a homeless shelter can say that and not have to feel odd about it. Just wanted to give you another update. Just wanted to keep you abreast that, you have citizens in this area who are experiencing homelessness. We had 2 storms. I know you probably didn't know about that, but we did. We had 2, one a nice ice storm, and the other the snowstorm. That created water not to run, which leaves the people with nowhere to go and no way of getting anywhere. So when that happens, Community of Faith Mission, who normally operates from 6 p.m. to 7 a.m., decided to stay open. We had to stay open for almost 3 days the first time, and then an extra day the second time. We were able to provide TV, movies. Thank God the power didn't go out in the shelter. So we had, but the guests were comfortable, they were warm, and they were safe. So the second storm only lasted a day. The same situation, they were allowed to stay. So citizens were safe. We have now reached 104 different guests that have come through our doors. Out of those guests, 41 of them are directly with James City County, so that means 39% of our guests represent this county. Out of those, we have 72 males, 32 females, so it's an average of 60-40. And then the figures which is sad, but true. So we've had 5 that were anywhere from 24 down. We had 1 that was under 1 year old. We've had 76 that are from the age of 25 to 59. That's significant, and I'll share that with you in a minute. But then we also have 46 that are over 60. So I don't know if you've ever seen a shelter, but you come in and there are mats on the floor. So I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little older, and crawling down on a mat and getting back up is always not any fun. So just to let you know, it's not an easy life. The 76 that are 25 to 59, the reason I point that out is, as I shared with you before, there are programs that help under 25. It's something to do with McKinley. You know better than me. There's some programs that will help disabled people. There are programs that will help 60 and over. There are no programs that help 25 to 59, and that is the majority of our guests. So it's just something I'd love to have a discussion about, of what are ideas. We do have volunteers that come in that help with budgeting, that help with resume writing and job search. And so we continue to do that. Our Heads Up program, we currently have 21 people involved, and the Heads Up program is a program that helps with either housing or diversion. Diversion means we send them to places where they can get support. They come here on a bus, or they come into the area for work and can't find it, and they just wish they could get back home. So we help them do that. Out of that, 12 people have been able to be diverted. And we have 21 working on housing. So that's about 20%, which is great. In the last couple of weeks, we have been at a capacity. We generally go with 25. We were able to move it up to 30. We have been hitting it. And the other night, just to bring this to reality, is we had a gentleman come in at 11:30 at night. He was just texted our address. So he just thought he could show up. We were at capacity. We had nowhere for it. There was no beds. So we let him sit inside to see. He was freezing. It was 19 degrees out. He was freezing. We were able to give him gloves, a hat. All he had was a coat. So we gave him gloves, hat, scarf. He was able to sit there, warm up, and he was able to think clear enough to make some phone calls. They were able to give him transportation. Why couldn't we do that? Because our budget doesn't allow for that. We normally have budgeting that works with the counties and cities to help with, if we're at overcapacity, we could put them in a hotel for the night, and then they could then work on trying to figure out something in the next day. That has been the way it's been for the last 12 years. The last 2 years, we are not getting that same thing. So in the budgeting, as you consider it, I did not put in there for hotel, but I know I can adjust the funding. So when you consider budgeting, if you think about that, we have nothing for helping people in hotel rooms spend the night in the event that they have nowhere else to go. I thank you for your time. I hope you guys have a good evening. You have lots of people here, and at least I wasn't complaining. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. McDaniel, and thank you for the work that the Community Faith Mission is undertaking here. Chris Henderson?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Chris Henderson, 101 Keystone. You can't help but feel for the people who are going to the homeless shelter. I know that Bruton Parish hosted it this last week. We provide snow removal and snow pre-treatment services for them, and we had to go out specifically to their parish house in order to accommodate the homeless. And there were a lot of people there. They were at capacity every single night. So this is a huge problem. And I would hope that the board could find some funds to help this organization expand its offerings and capacity so that it can actually meet current need. It struck me the other day as I was driving by a hotel for sale on Route 60 near the Pottery that would probably be an ideal place for a homeless shelter, something that the county could joint venture with this organization or other similar ones. It's on the bus route. It's near grocery stores and shopping and convenient, and that would give it a permanent home. And so I know that property is for sale, so that may be something that the county administrator or staff could look into. And so, hopefully we can make that a priority. And as you go through your budgeting process, create some capacity, additional capacity for those folks. Next up, I have a congratulatory remark to make regarding one of Dr. McGlennon's former students, Jeff Ryer. Our own Jeff Ryer was elected as the chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia. That is the chair of the entire Republican Party. He will then go to the national organization as Virginia's representative. He is responsible for managing the paid staff. So it is a great honor that was bestowed upon Jeff by being elected. And I know that Dr. McGlennon, he credits you for much of his success. Anyway, congratulations to Jeff Ryer, and it's a great thing for James City County to have the chair of the Republican Party of Virginia as one of its residents. I also had a chance to speak with the county administrator this week regarding connectivity between neighborhoods and primary arterials. James City County is the home of the cul-de-sac. And so what I would like for James City County to begin to consider is to look for opportunities to provide greater interconnectivity between neighborhoods and also our primary arterials. We have an issue where in the event of a natural disaster or an emergency, people who live on Jamestown Road have very limited ways to get out of that portion of Jamestown Road. Same for Route 5. So we need again to be looking for ways to promote and improve interconnectivity. I don't know if you had the opportunity to read about the success of some elementary schools in Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama. They are making tremendous strides in student reading and math performance, and now they have some of the leading schools in the nation. They are surpassing Massachusetts in terms of the performance of their students. I would suggest that we advise or encourage our schools, administration, and school board to reach out to people who are having great success with those students. Lastly, I had provided some comments at our last meeting about the General Services Building, and I was very critical of staff because in the staff presentation, there was no indication that certain reports had been generated by the staff to include the archaeological, the environmental, and many of the other site plan and rendering requirements that would be normally requested of a private developer. Well, it turns out in the board attachment, which was 1,000 pages last month, that deep within the recesses of those reports were there. So I owe an apology to staff for the criticism. Again, it was my failure to review the information, but it would be helpful to the lay people to have a checklist when you do a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Henderson. I strive to be a nonpartisan educator. We are now down to the consent calendar. There are no items tonight for a consent calendar, so we will move on to public hearings. Let me just introduce Jack Haldeman from the Planning Commission, who is here tonight to represent the results of the Planning Commission deliberations on the cases we are considering. And our first case is SUP 250012, 6015 Richmond Road, which is Forest Heights Senior Independent Living Facility. And Allison Jakura.
Good evening, Chair. Thank you. Good evening, members of the board. Mr. Doug Harbin is the applicant for this special use permit in order to allow for a senior independent living facility at 6015 Richmond Road, outlined here in red along Richmond Road. The property is zoned R3 residential redevelopment, subject to a rezoning with proffered conditions, and the comprehensive plan calls for low-density residential at this site. The SUP is specifically limited to the front of the property, here shown outlined in red. Here's Richmond Road. The back of the property is already approved and under construction to be townhouse apartment units, which are proffered to be affordable. This special use permit is, as I mentioned, for the senior independent living facility. It is 50 units, all of which are proffered to be affordable to the 30 to 60% average median income. It was part of a previous county-initiated rezoning, the townhouse units as well as this senior independent living facility. The SUP was previously approved. However, the construction of this part of the project did not commence within the 36 months, which was a condition of the previous SUP. Therefore, it expired, and they are bringing forward the same proposal seeking reapproval. There are no changes within that. Staff is recommending approval with the same conditions as previously approved. I'm available for any questions.
Anybody have questions for staff? No? All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Jakura. And oh, I'm sorry. Let me call on Mr. Haldeman for the Planning Commission report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As Mr. Jakura mentioned, we met on this subject last month, January 7th, pardon me, and the Planning Commission unanimously recommends approval. This, as you know, is an identical project that was approved in 2019. We had one speaker who was generally in favor but had some concerns about buffering between his home and the new project, which is actually on opposite ends of the property. A couple of questions. The big question was why the delay? It's 6 years delay. And the answer was it was COVID was the problem, supply chain problems that were caused by COVID, a significant increase in the cost of building materials. Mr. Walker from Bay Aging spoke to the subject also and mentioned that they've had some problems with financing and getting grants and so forth. Those have been resolved. There was a question, what would the rent of the affordable units be? And it's too soon to tell. They haven't worked out all the financing yet. So one commissioner requested that the proposed park and playground be open to the Forest Heights neighborhood. Everyone was happy to see a water stop at the project. And the big thing is, of course, that this serves a very pressing need in the county. So those were the issues that we discussed, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Haldeman? No, thank you very much. Okay. Chase Grogg, the applicant.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Chase Grogg with Land Tech Resources located at 205 Bullifonts Boulevard, Suite E in Williamsburg, Virginia. I'm here this evening representing Wayne Harbin Builder regarding the proposed reapproval of the special use permit. Wayne and Doug Harbin are also here tonight, and Doug will be addressing the board as well. I've been involved with this project since 2017, working closely with Mr. Harbin, and it has been encouraging to see the progress already underway on the townhome portion of the development. As staff has noted, the proposed senior independent living facility was part of the county-facilitated rezoning project approved in 2019. Since that time, the Harbins have advanced their portion of the project while also working with Bay Aging toward the development of the senior living component. The Harbins have now also started the construction of the first townhome building, with completion of the model expected to be done in 3 to 4 months. As we all know, the onset of COVID in early 2020 significantly slowed construction activity and led to substantial increases in material costs, particularly impacting projects intended to remain affordable. While state legislation did extend the approval period for the special use permit, it ultimately expired in July of last year. The effects of COVID, challenging funding requirements, and a new administration have delayed the availability of financing for Bay Aging. The proposed 50 apartment units have also been proffered to be 100% affordable through the county's Housing Opportunity Program. Mr. Alan Walker with Bay Aging is present this evening and will speak further to those efforts following my remarks. For now, I will mention that the preliminary rental rates following the Planning Commission's meeting are projected to range from $800 to $1,200 for a one-bedroom apartment. For a two-bedroom apartment, that range will be from $1,000 to $1,500. The range in pricing is to account for the different earning levels the HOP program aims to address. Turning to the submitted master plan, it remains consistent with the overall layout of the previously approved plan. The only revisions made were to better reflect the final configuration of the townhomes currently under construction and the proposed senior living facility layout. The property lies within the Powhatan Creek watershed and is subject to special stormwater management requirements. Under the tentative site plan, stormwater will be managed through 2 on-site bioretention basins, while ultimately connect via piping beneath Forest Heights Road to the originally master planned BMP. Maintenance of that BMP will be shared between the 2 HOAs. Additionally, the northern portion of the site will drain to the bioretention facility that has already been constructed as part of the townhome development. During the Planning Commission meeting, Mr. Polster raised a couple of questions that were discussed and I would like to include this evening. These 2 topics were discussed during the 2019 approval process and remain relevant today. The first relates to the proposed playground. When the original Forest Heights and Neighbors Drive redevelopment occurred, HOA participation was optional for existing residents. Although a playground was contemplated on 100 Forest Heights Road, it was never constructed. The area shown on our master plan will be maintained by a new HOA associated with the townhomes and senior living facility development, including the proposed parks and multi-use paths. The intent is for the playground to serve the new homes and senior living facility under construction, which those residents bearing the associated maintenance and insurance responsibilities. There was also a question regarding access to WADA bus stops. There are currently 2 existing bus stops along Route 60 near the intersection with Forest Heights Drive. While shelters are not presently installed, staff has advised that these locations are included in the county's 5-year schedule for shelter construction. Staff did let me know this morning that Dr. McGlennon had asked about our experience with the approved townhomes and what pricing was coming in for these homes. As for experience, since the first units are just under construction, we don't have any pre-sales to be able to talk about. What I can provide is the current projected home prices. 4 of the units will be offered at a projected maximum price of $212,000. 3 of the units will be offered at a projected maximum price of $281,750. Finally, the remaining 39 units will be offered at a projected maximum price of $394,350. And speaking with the Harbins, the expected range for those 39 units, though, will be closer to $325,000 to $345,000. Since all the townhomes will not be completed this year, I'm saying those numbers as projected maximums. As you are aware, next year's AMI numbers would be published, which would then slightly change what I've said this evening. To also be clear, these 46 units described here are not part of tonight's SUP application, and just me answering Dr. McGlennon's question on pricing. In closing, affordable, independent senior living remains a significant need in our community, and this project represents an important opportunity to help meet that need. With no substantial changes from the previously approved plan, the Harbins and I respectfully request that this special use permit be approved by the board. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have before I pass it along to Mr. Walker.
We first opened the public hearing, and now would you repeat what you know? Any questions for Mr. Grogg?
No, I just want to say thank you for reaching out today, and you said several were coming. Probably better to start with me on the Friday, because by this point, so it wasn't a slight, it was just that
I appreciate it.
Tuesdays are crazy, so, yeah.
I'll say the same thing too. I thought, when?
Yeah, yeah,
Give me a time frame.
yeah, but thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chase.
I appreciate very much the information you provided. The real concern here is simply just a matter of knowing whether housing that is built as affordable remains affordable over time.
Yep.
So,
Thank you.
any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you. Mr. Doug Harbin.
I just want to start by saying that I am not Doug Harbin. I'm Alan Walker. I'm with Bay Aging. I'm Assistant Director of Multifamily Housing Development. I just wanted to come in and give you a little bit of information. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with all of you tonight about our Forest Heights, our proposed senior housing community located at 6015 Richmond Road in Williamsburg. Bay Aging, just for a little history, Bay Aging, established in 1978, is a regional nonprofit serving older adults across Middle Peninsula, Northern Neck, and Greater Williamsburg region. We support seniors through housing, transportation, health services, and community-based programs. Affordable housing has always been central to our mission, and we have a strong record in this work, including Parker View, an age and income restricted community here in James City County that opened in 2009. Parker View, located at 100 Parker View Court, Williamsburg, was developed by Bay Aging in partnership with James City County and the Peninsula Agency on Aging. We continue to own and operate it today. Forest Heights follows in that tradition. It is a planned 3-story, 50-unit affordable housing community for residents aged 55 and older. The development will serve seniors with income at or below 60% of area median income. To give local context, HUD's fiscal year 2025 median family income for James City County is $106,500 for a 2-person household, which is most common household size for senior renters, and that equates to $51,120 based on HUD's information. Many older residents in the county fall squarely within these income range, folks relying on Social Security, modest pensions, or part-time income. For them, the rising cost of market rate housing is a significant barrier to remaining in the community they call home. Forest Heights is designed to directly address that gap. In terms of project readiness, Bay Aging has completed a market study which shows strong demand for affordable senior housing in the county. The Phase 1 environmental study has also been completed, and both the preliminary site plan and preliminary building floor plans are currently in progress. Those pieces are moving forward as expected. I also want to acknowledge a challenge that has shaped this project, which is acquisition funding. For developments like Forest Heights, it's difficult to secure. It is rarely prioritized in grant making and is heavily influenced by shifting government policies and funding cycles. That said, because of our partnerships with the Williamsburg Health Foundation, the Peninsula Agency on Aging, and the Corporation for Supportive Housing through the Supportive Housing Institute of Virginia, Bay Aging is now in a strong position to have serious productive discussions on the property owner as we work to move forward the project. The purpose of tonight's request is a special use permit. This approval is essential not only for low-income housing tax credit applications, but also for a wide range of competitive grant and funding programs. Many funders, public and private, require that local land use approvals be secured before they will consider an application. Without the SUP, the project would just stop. With the project in place, Bay Aging can continue advancing Forest Heights through final engineering, architectural refinement, and funding applications. Once funded, we will move into pre-construction and ultimately deliver 50 high-quality affordable homes for older adults in James City County, modeled closely after the success of Parker View. I appreciate your time and your consideration, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have for me.
Have any questions? Mr. Walker, if we could just ask you to fill out one of these forms, just so that we have a record of
Of course.
everything. Okay. Thank you. Now, Mr. Harbin?
Thank y'all, Chair, Board. Doug Harbin, Wayne Harbin Builder. We've been building in James City County for a long time. We're a custom home builder. My father started this company back in 1985, and we have been a part of a lot of the developments through the years, through the decades, that's really, I think, which gives the character and the face of James City County now. Probably a lot of the board members even live in some of those neighborhoods that the custom home builders had built in. When this project originally started moving forward, if y'all remember, it was actually a mixed use project. And one of the things that we had worked closely with was neighborhood development with Vaughn and Marion Payne. And one of the things that we thought would be a great addition to this redevelopment project would be this independent living facility. They had just come off the one at Parker View, and which was a great success. And James City County really does need that type of housing for our aging seniors. But again, it was zone mixed use, so we had to go back to the drawing board and try to figure out a commercial aspect to the project that would be something that we would be able to start sooner than later. Storage units was the first thing we thought about, and I think coming to the board, that was not something that the board wanted to see. So the board did initiated a rezoning for the project to be able to get us these 50 independent senior living this facility. So, and then we got approved, and then COVID hit, and I think everybody can remember what prices did during COVID. We were paying $45 to $48 for a sheet of OSB. So trying to start an affordable home project in the middle of COVID was not something that we could do. So soon as we felt like things were starting to stabilize with pricing, we started moving forward on the project. So we're underway with the townhomes. We're starting our first model court, which is being framed. Probably 90% of the infrastructure is in for the townhomes. And the General Assembly had kept allowing the SUPs to be renewed till this past July. Again, some of the reasons that we could not go forward on that, we had commented on from Bay Aging, affordability, funding, and different things like that. So it expired. So we're asking the board to reconsider and approve this independent living facility. I think it would be a great asset to the county. We've been a part of affordable housing for a long time. We were one of the Ironbound redevelopment builders. We built several of the houses in Forest Heights and Neighbors Drive. So we feel like that's important. We just finished a house on Centerville Road for neighborhood development, and we are actually bidding on some of the remodel stuff they have coming down the pipe. So we are asking y'all to please approve this project. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harbin. Chris Henderson. I'm sorry, did anybody have any questions for Mr. Harbin? No? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Chris Henderson, 101 Keystone. Great use, tremendous need, got to do it, got to figure it out. And I would encourage the board, if necessary, to offer financial assistance to Bay Aging in the event they need it in order to secure their financing. It's that critically important. As the offspring of aging parents and in-laws who are now in their 90s, I know firsthand some of the struggles that our super seniors are experiencing. And if you are relying on Social Security for your existence, you're in real trouble in James City County. And this project has an opportunity to address a very substantial need. And I would like to echo the comments of Mr. Harbin that it is the custom builders of James City County that made James City County special. It was not D.R. Horton. It was not Fairfield Homes. It was not Pulte. So the big tract guys, you know, they have their lane, but what made James City County special was the custom builder community. And we need to do as a community more to help support our custom builders, because there are not that many of them left. And the big boys put them out of business. So thank you.
All right, that's the last of the speaker cards, so I will close the public hearing, ask for any board discussion.
I would just comment, I think that this is a very easy one for me. I'm very impressed with the work that Bay Aging has done at Parker House. I think this will be a tremendous addition to our community. I know we've done a lot of work up in that Forest Heights area, and I'm glad to see that that project is on track, and I could very gladly support this evening.
I just want to reinforce what Mr. Harbin was talking about before. His company has been very active in working with the Neighborhood Development Office in scattered site renovations and reconstruction, and is truly a builder who takes seriously the need to provide housing at different income levels. So that's very, very good. Do I have a motion?
I'll have a motion, make the motion to approve.
Okay, we motion to approve. And so, Mr. Stevens, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, now move on to our next, oh, I'm sorry, that's, we have a interruption here, just for a moment. We have Mr. Jacobowski, would you like to introduce our second prize winner?
Even more special, I get a second shot. So our second place winner is Hulam Fizza that I mentioned before, and she wrote a wonderful essay on the effect and legacy of African American schools in Williamsburg, James City County. What school do you attend?
Lafayette.
She's Lafayette High School, so
Oh, Rams.
one of our own. So I want to congratulate you on this, because it was wonderfully done. We really do appreciate it.
Oh, Jason's gonna. Thank you.
Okay. Our second public hearing is Z260006, MP 250004, Proffer and Master Plan amendments for Ford's Colony Master Plan, Ford's Village. And Morgan Reisner.
Good evening, Chair and members of the board. Mr. Graham Corson of AES Consulting Engineers and Mr. Vernon Getty of Getty Harris Frank and Hickman have applied on behalf of Ford's Village LLC to amend the proffers and master plan for the Ford's Village development located at 3889 News Road. The property is currently zoned R4 Residential Plan Community is inside the primary service area and is designated as low-density residential on the 2045 Comprehensive Plan land use map. The Fords Village proffers and master plan were previously amended in 2022, which allowed a total of 470 independent living, memory care, skilled nursing, and assisted living rooms. Specifically, 270 independent living units were shown in the CCRC A, B, and C land areas, and 75 independent living apartments and 125 assisted living, memory care, and skilled nursing rooms were shown in the CCRC D land area. The current application requests to amend Proffer number 3 and the master plan to allow a maximum of 160 independent living apartments and a minimum of 40 assisted living and memory care rooms within the CCRCD land area. Overall, the CCRCD land area will continue to have no more than 200 independent living apartments and assisted living, memory care, and skilled nursing rooms. And the property will continue to have no more than 470 units and rooms. The application also proposes amending the recreational amenities provided in Proffer number 13 so that beauty and barber salons and libraries would be optional amenities in the CCRCD land area, so that courtyards would not be required in the CCRCD land area, and so that physicians' offices, home health, and pharmacy uses would not be listed as optional amenities for the CCRCD land area. Finally, the application proposes amending Proffer number 17 to increase the number of building permits that may be issued in the CCRC A, B, and C land areas prior to construction commencing in the CCRC D land area from 50 to 100 building permits. While no changes are proposed to the cash contributions in Proffer number 5, the potential increased proportion of independent living units would result in an overall increased dollar amount of cash contributions up to $1,474,358.30 in 2021 dollars. Additionally, the proposed changes are expected to continue to have a positive overall fiscal impact of $48,319,369 or $1,887,000 annually. Regarding traffic impacts, the traffic impact analysis submitted as part of the 2022 Proffer and Master Plan Amendment accounted for a total of 516 units and rooms. As shown in attachment number 6, the applicant's traffic engineer presented a comparison between the estimated number of trips based on a scenario of 470 units comprised of 75 independent living apartments and 125 assisted living or memory care rooms, matching the final unit counts for the 2022 Proffer and Master Plan Amendment as approved by the Board of Supervisors. The comparison showed a decrease of 8 a.m. peak hour trips and 20 p.m. peak hour trips. Further, staff notes that the potential increase in the independent living apartments would also result in a further reduction of trips, as the Institution of Transportation Engineers 11th edition trip generation manual estimates that assisted living units would generate more trips in comparison to independent living. Staff finds that the development is anticipated to have a positive fiscal impact and that the development is not anticipated to generate student enrollment or impacts on schools. That the application is not expected to result in an increased number of trips, and that appropriate amenities are provided for the development. However, the application does not propose 20% of units affordable to the 0% to 80% of area median income range, as recommended in the comprehensive plan. At its November 5th, 2025 regular meeting, the Planning Commission recommended approval of this application by a vote of 5-1. Overall, staff finds that the application is generally consistent with the zoning ordinance, applicable policies, and the comprehensive plan. Staff recommends that the Board of Supervisors approve this application, subject to the proposed proffers. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, and the applicant team is here as well.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Reisinger?
Yeah, one thing you mentioned in the thing, it was talking about the fiscal impact, and it was, what was the annual impact that you had said? Was it 1 million something? about halfway through.
$1,887,000 annually.
887. Thank you.
Any other questions?
In the positive.
Correct.
Questions? Not, I'll call on Mr. Haldeman for the commission report.
Hi again. This is the third public hearing for this project. The first was in 2008, then 2022, and then, of course, tonight. The Planning Commission, as Ms. Reisinger mentioned, not unanimously, but by a vote of 5-1, recommends approval of this application. There were two public speakers at our meeting and one letter. One was against and two were in favor of these amendments. As with the 2022 plan, there's no affordable housing, but there are 2 beds in assisted living reserved for Medicaid qualified individuals. Some of the questions, a commissioner asked if the special stormwater criteria referenced in Section 8 of the Community Impact Statement had been superseded, and the answer to that was the applicant pledged to implement the new SSC regulations into the site plan for the property. Why had the number of proposed assisted living, memory care, and skilled nursing units decreased from 125 to 40 was another question. The answer was there probably would be more than 40 units for assisted living memory care. However, this proffer would provide flexibility for any possible market condition changes. A commissioner was impressed with the proffer of contribution towards the News Road and Cold Spring Swamp flooding problems. There was an expression of concern about traffic on News Road and Monticello Avenue with no solutions, not just the traffic at the project's entrance and egress, but the broader impact as well. One commissioner stated that a project of this size should not be on the sharp end of a 2-lane country road, and was also concerned with the project's contribution to traffic congestion on Monticello. That commissioner had supported the 2022 amendment because it was much better than the original plan, but wondered if the 2025 amendment was better than the 2022 amendment. A commissioner was unhappy with the revised phasing plan and with the reduction in the assisted living and memory care component. That's it for my summary, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to.
Questions, Mr. That, I will go ahead and open the public hearing, and we'll start with Vernon Getty for the applicant.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm Vernon Getty of 1177 Jamestown Road. It's a pleasure to be here tonight representing the applicant, Fry Development. Here, Jeff Wormers is the president of Fry. We have Ramsey Smith with Pembroke Realty and Michael Mays with Greenbrier Senior Living, as well as engineer and traffic consultant and others that will be available to answer questions. I think you all are familiar with Fry by this point and their award-winning communities at East Beach in Norfolk and the Cavalier Residences in Virginia Beach. They have a development philosophy of world-class master planning, pedestrian-scale streetscapes, timeless architecture, respect for the land, collaboration with the jurisdictions in which they do business, and a focus on quality of life for their residents. Little history here. This project, you all will recall, Retirement Unlimited was the partner in the project and actually was the original master developer, and RUI and the landowner brought Fry in to develop the single family portion of the project. That flipped in about 2020 and Fry became the lead developer on this project. As mentioned in 2022, the property was downzoned from an approval for 741 units to its current 470 units. And following that approval, Fry has been working diligently on their site plan. To their great surprise, in December of 2024, RUI withdrew from the project, citing changed market conditions and requirements of their financial partner. Fry remains committed to delivering a walkable, connected, and vibrant neighborhood. It supports the county's aging population, promotes independent wellness and aging in place, and provides a variety of senior housing options at diverse price points. The master plan is based on traditional town-making principles. It has narrow streets, alley-loaded garages, and a number of parks and walking paths and trails and amenities. It's a superior design, quality housing, and high standards of living. And all of that with the amenities and service will enhance the long-term living environments for all residents within Ford's Village. All the services and amenities will be shared by all residents in Ford's Village, those living in Fry homes, those living in the senior living facility. Amenities include in the single-family neighborhood, a clubhouse with gathering spaces and multi-purpose room, fitness center, pool, the obligatory pickleball courts, pocket parks, walking trails, and more. And within the senior living facility, you'll have dining options, transportation, again, fitness, theater, spa, library, multi-purpose rooms, outdoor spaces, and active social programming, and more to serve the needs of those residents. So what's the same in the application? The overall land plan, the mix of housing types, the semi-custom and custom homes, the grade architecture and planning are all the same. Total number of units is the same. Total number of units in the senior facility is the same, although the mix changes. As mentioned, the two affordable beds for Medicare folks in the senior living facility remain, as does the commitment to a sustainable building, and as does the arrangement that folks living in the single-family residence will have priority to move into the senior living facility over the general public. So it will operate as an overall unified project. As I mentioned, we're here because RUI pulled out in December, citing, again, the market and financing conditions. The Proffer mix of units was very specific to their project. And after they pulled out, Fry spent considerable time in outreach, talked to 40 or more operators and brokers in the senior living business. And the feedback they got is you need a more flexible mix of independent and assisted living units in today's market. And folks were simply not willing to move forward with the project under the proffers as they read today. The master plan amendment part is pretty straightforward. RUI was so far along, they had actually designed, had full architectural plans for their building. So the master plan shows the exact footprint of their building. And we're seeking just to have the flexibility to have a newly designed building fit on that same space. The Proffer amendment request is a minimum of 40 assisted living memory care units to address the need we mentioned for flexibility. They can add more assisted living units. They in fact plan to have units that can flex between either independent or assisted living, and also have programs to provide assisted living services to folks that are in independent units. As mentioned, there are some minor adjustments to the exact amenities, but there will be a full amenity package. The second request is to increase the limit of building permits that the A, B, and C areas can obtain prior to the footers being poured for the senior living facility. The reason for that request is while Fry will do some building in this project, they will have a builders guild of local custom builders that will come in and build using the Fry design guidelines as well. And local builders like that are looking for an opportunity to come in and build a house and know they have lots available that they can move on when they finish and have several in front of them. And think that will be a great way to attract the quality local custom builders. The ultimate check here remains in place, which is you can't exceed 175 building permits until there's a CO for the senior living facility. When this amendment was submitted, Fry had identified 3 high-quality developer operators they were talking to and willing to move forward with. They have now selected an operator, and that is Pembroke Realty Group. Pembroke will serve as a developer of the senior living facility. They're based in Virginia Beach, a highly reputable, quality local developer that was founded in 1955. They've developed over 2 million square feet of commercial property, 13,000 residential units, and they're the developer and operator of Aviva Pembroke, which is a high-quality, middle-market senior living community in Virginia Beach. They're the leader of the Pembroke redevelopment down at the beach, which is a $200 million reinvestment, taking the old Pembroke Mall property and transforming it into a vibrant mixed-use district. And they have a trusted reputation in the market for bringing projects from start through entitlements, construction, to successful completion. And I'm gonna have Ramsey Smith from Pembroke and Michael Mays from their management company, Greenbrier Senior Living, come up.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for having us here. I'm Ramsey Smith. I'm president of Pembroke Realty Group. I've been in charge of redevelopment of Pembroke Square since 2001, actually, when this is obviously the biggest thing that we've done there, and actually in probably the history of the Napolitano and Oliveri families put together, maybe. But anyway, I have the honor of representing the Napolitano and Oliveri families, 2 high net worth families in Virginia Beach. We are redoing Pembroke Square, which was the former mall. It happened to be the 17th mall in the United States. We're undergoing the redevelopment and repositioning of it right now. Top left picture is actually when we tore down about 200,000 square feet of the mall. It used to be 700,000 square feet, including the Sears property. On that property, we're going through various phases. The top right is the next phase to start, which is 284 units multifamily residential community. On the bottom right is hotel, Hilton Hotel Tempo product. Over on the left bottom is it being under construction. We've already topped out, and we hope to open that either late December or no later than April of next year. But the first phase was Aviva Pembroke, which was our first foray into senior living community. We partnered with Beth Shalom, and who had knowledge of independent memory and assisted living product. Since I didn't have that knowledge, I have a lot more knowledge now after going through everything. But we now have a proven financial model that we know that we can perform, which is very similar to what we want to do here at Ford's Village. It is going to be a middle market product. If you can see this, we do value quality finishes, similar to Fry Development. upper right-hand shows a 7th floor indoor-outdoor lounge for the residents. And then the other two are common area spaces. Upper left is an example of a residence. We have a theater to the right, a spa to the bottom right, and our fitness center. We have an indoor pool as well. And we know that our model can be developed and financed. I think, thank you for high quality. That was a good description. We've just executed it. We opened last December, so we're just over a year of opening. We actually ended up selecting Greenbrier as our operator and manager. They help lease and operate, market the property, and they're excellent at it. We are thoroughly impressed with what they do. We already had established some of the market parameters that we weren't going to be the Westminster or Harbor Edge costly senior living community where you have to spend 6 figures or more to get into it. We wanted to be middle market where we had the greatest amount of people that we could serve. So we have lower community fees. We do have a high quality product. We like and stress to have more amenities than most. Greenbrier has come into the marketplace, and we've looked at some of the other of the potential competitors that we have. We feel like a fair amount of that is older product. We believe that you do have some higher end product. We're not trying to compete with them, but we think we can provide something new, fresh, and something desirable for your residents here. The IL, AL, and MC that we've modeled here are really is for the ability to finance it. You obviously had some experience that was not quite beneficial for everybody. But we do value the age in place product. But there's some ratios, and I'm not going to go into that. If you have any questions, you can ask Greenbrier. But at the end of the day, there's a percentage of assisted living that you need compared to independent, and a percentage of memory care that you need from AL and IL. So I think Michael's going to talk a little bit about our wraparound services for independent living, because I think what you'll find that when we lowered the AL and the MC, that it's really not as it all as seems, because if you're in independent living, you can do anything that you want, just like you have options at your house. So anyway, we're proud to have Greenbrier as a partner in this. We brought them in early. We think they're going to guide us and help us through another Aviva project similar to that. We're not going to name it Aviva, but at the end of the day, Greenbrier has an excellent reputation. They come highly qualified. And with that, I'll introduce Michael Mays.
Thanks, Brandon. Good evening. My name is Michael Mays. I'm president of Greenbrier Senior Living, and we appreciate the opportunity to talk today about this exciting project. We are a full service management company. We have over 250 years of combined experience with our leaders that oversee our organization. I think one of the things that's unique about Greenbrier is that everybody that works in a higher level in our company has worked in a senior living community. I started off as a nursing home administrator. So all of the decisions we make with the thought of how this is going to impact our residents and what can we do better every day to serve our residents. We currently operate 37 communities. We have about 3,400 total units that we operate. About 50% of those units are independent living and about 50% are assisted living and memory care. Oops. We have a people-first approach to what we do. As everybody knows, labor's tight today, and especially in senior living, healthcare, it's especially tight. So we focus hard on our culture, on our training, on our recruiting. We like to empower the staff within the communities that we operate, and we do that by excellent orientations and a lot of presence at our communities. We have regional oversight in all major disciplines, if you will, in clinical, dining, operations, accounting. We provide assistance in all areas and spend a lot of time within our communities that we operate. We have a strong commitment to resident wellness. We have robust wellness and activities programs. We have some signature programs that we've developed over the years that focus on our staff and the commitment to culture, the commitment to serving residents, as well as our signature programs that focus on our residents, how we deliver our services in the culinary area. We have a copyrighted memory care program by the name of Masterful Moments that focuses on the individual, that we do extensive training on, and it's just one of the many things that we do. And all of these signature programs are flexible. So every community that we operate, we like to say, if you've seen one senior living community, you've only seen one. We do operate in many states. However, every community is different. The likes of our residents are different. What they want is different. And a big part of what we do is receive resident feedback from the very get-go of when we get engaged to make sure that our programming, our food, everything that we do is tailored to our residents and what they like. We have a proven success record of opening communities and stabilizing communities. We work very closely with our owners. We start off first working with our development partners and the design of the communities to make sure that they're efficient and they serve our residents well. But we also work very closely after the communities are open to make sure that they're successful in all areas. So I think that's it. Can I answer any questions?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Can you tell me, just get a ballpark idea of, for someone, either a couple living in an independent living in your facility, or a individual living in assisted living, what the ballpark average monthly cost would be to be in those?
Well, our costs, they vary based upon the size of the units. But if it's a couple, it would be in a larger unit. So our independent living is more than likely going to be a little less than the assisted living, because in assisted living we have to provide more services. And currently, if you were to look at a community like Aviva, which Ramsey mentioned earlier, our independent living units are going to be in the ballpark of $4,500, $5,000, maybe a little more, and then assisted's going to be a couple $1,000s more than that.
Any other questions? No? Thank you.
I have one brief close. As we've discussed, you heard it earlier tonight, the world's changed since this project started in 2019 with COVID, inflation, high interest rates, tariffs now, cost of construction, lifestyle choices being made these days, and financial requirements. After making every attempt possible to advance this project under the existing plan, Fry has realized today's environment requires more flexibility. They're committed to delivering a full-service and integrated senior living community here with all levels of living to meet the needs of the county's aging population. There's no increase in density here. There's no increase in traffic impacts. This site, as you're aware, is cleared and ready, and you have a local, high-quality, well-capitalized developers ready to move forward immediately if this is approved. And I will say, when built, this will be a project you'll be proud to have in James City County with the quality these folks do. So with that, we'd ask you to approve the amendments, and anybody on the team would be glad to answer any questions.
I have a question. I think Jeff told me that there's no buy-in for these, right?
There's a small community fee.
Small, yeah, I
Yeah.
was wondering what small
mean,
is.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're looking in the $7,500, $10,000
Okay.
range compared to the hundreds of thousands of dollars you would pay in a different model. And then it's, as you said, it's a monthly rental model.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Doug Harbin?
Doug Harbin, Wayne Harbin Builder. You know, I didn't know a whole lot about the Fry Group until a couple years ago when this project was coming down the pipe. And they had asked us to possibly be a part of this project. So I ended up going over to East Beach and taking a look at the project that they did there, which was pretty remarkable. The architecture, the attention to detail, the customization that I saw really reminded me of James City County and some of the projects that we've been involved in here locally. We were also one of the builders in Port Warwick, and again, Bobby Freeman was very keen on making sure that the architecture of that neighborhood met a certain criteria. And when I went over there and took a look and toured and heard about their company, you know, we wanted to be a part of it. And you know, as I was talking before, and one of the other gentlemen had mentioned, you know, there's not a whole lot of new projects coming down the pipe that allow for local custom home builders. And I thought that reaching out and to the local home builder community and having us be a part of this project was certainly noteworthy. I was building in Monticello Woods when this project was trying to get approved. There was a lot of public outcries. The density was much higher. The continuing care facility was in a different location. They were flying balloons to see if we could see it from Monticello Woods. So I feel like, you know, going and seeing that project and then seeing the changes that they made by lowering the density and changing the location of the continuing care facility really helped try to make this project viable. You know, I think that the continuing care facility is something that James City County needs, and I certainly think that with all the communities that we're building in now, Kings Mill, Ford's Colony, and these projects that have a lot of bigger homes, there's a need in the county for somebody that wants to downsize from a 44,000 square foot home, 4,500, but still wants the attention to detail and the quality of construction that they expect. And I think that this project really brings that to the table. I think that the architecture and the way that they've laid the project out is not going to be like some of the other bigger projects that we see going on in the county. So I hope that y'all will look at approving the Proffer amendment and allowing us, the custom home builder community, to be a part of it, and our local subs and suppliers as well. So thank you.
Harvey. Chris Henderson.
Mr. Chair, Chris Henderson, 101 Keystone. Back in 2008, when the project was first approved, I was actually on the Planning Commission. And before that time, I had served on the Board of Directors of the Ford's Colony Homeowners Association and negotiated with Dick Ford and his development partners the inclusion of the property into the Ford's Colony Master Plan. And there was great excitement within Ford's Colony about the project. And so this has been a long time coming, and I certainly hope that Fry Properties will be successful, and I have no doubt, given their track record, that they will be. It's something that's desperately needed within our community as we continue to age. The only thing that I didn't hear was any reference to skilled nursing beds, and so I'm not sure if that's part of the continuum of care. But as people continue to age out and they go beyond independent living to assisted living, and if there's memory care, then you go into what is called a skilled nursing scenario, where you actually have nurses who operate effectively a boutique nursing home for some of those residents. So I'm not sure if that's part of it or if residents will have to go elsewhere for that level of service. But I think the inclusion of the local custom builder community is absolutely critical. There is a dearth of opportunities for our custom builders, and hopefully our custom builders can start to engage with some of our young people and get them involved in trades. Interesting history on this property that was owned by the Warburton Mahone family and Buddy Red. They put the property under contract with Dick Ford. He held it for many years and then ended up having to file for bankruptcy, lost the property. And in that intervening time, I had actually worked with the Warburton and Mahone family to procure the site as a replacement for James Blair Middle School. If you recall, there was a lot of controversy about building James Blair at its former location because it did not meet the requirements for a middle school that are included in the James City County Comprehensive Plan. But yet, as a partner of 90%, we're stuck with a middle school that does not meet our own comprehensive plan requirements. And so this site would have been an ideal site for a middle school and a small residential component. But I think at the end of the day, Fry Properties is going to deliver a world-class project, something that we all can be proud of, and I just hope they get it done before I need it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Henderson. That's the last speaker card that I have, so I'll close the public hearing and ask for board's questions,
Could I ask
discussions.
a quick question or two,
Sure.
if I can, of Fry? If I remember correctly from the last time, 4 years ago, that we were looking at price points on the housing. And I believe, somewhere in my notes, I don't have it readily accessible right now, but I believe that the multifamily townhomes were in the 550,000 range, and I think that the single family was in about 750 range. Is that still reasonably accurate or fairly reflective of what the market is planned for these?
If you wouldn't mind coming to the podium.
Jeff Wormers. I mean, it's of course tough right now. You're probably generally in that price range, but you got to know in this neighborhood, we have everything from bungalows at 600 square feet all the way up to whatever custom builders can do, probably 3,000. So you're going to have a wide range of stuff, probably even under that as we come in with the small bungalows that'll serve a specific need, which we've done 2 other places that work real well.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Any other questions or comments?
Oh, I'll go ahead and start.
I think, and I'm not quite sure, I know that there's, with the increase from 50 to 100, if it, there's no guarantee for us, what if 100, and I guess I'm looking at you, Vernon, I'm looking at the row, somebody stand up. What happens if we get to 75 and we don't, and nothing happens? I mean, that's the,
So what would happen at 75, nothing, but if you got to a request for the 100th building permit and footers hadn't been poured on the senior living facility, you could not get it. You couldn't have more than 100 units. And you can't have more than 175 until there's a certificate of occupancy issued for the senior living facility.
right? But is there I've got to go, and first of all, the Fry, what they've built, I don't want to question their reputation because it's outstanding, and I have friends that live down in that area, but I guess the concern is if it doesn't go, and would they say, okay, well, we'll got 99, so we're going to go with 99 homes or and bungalows and all the things and just blow off the CCRC?
Want to respond, Jeff?
Because you're asking for that input.
Whether it's 50 or 99, overall, that's not what's going to make or break this project. If I can only get to 100, I don't succeed. So it's really about trying to guarantee the builders that we want to put in the Builder Guild that they can get going, know they have lots in front of them, and as they're building their unit, if we're really successful, we know we have all the lots and builders know they are able to buy more and build more.
All right, and if this doesn't go through tonight, what then? You have the original, you have back what was approved, but do you try to walk away, or you're not ready to answer? It's okay.
Well, we don't want to walk away from anything.
Yeah.
But what happens next is I can't tell you because we're in a very tight box with the current proffers. And as what we've learned talking to industry specialists is we don't know if we can get out of the current box economically with that mix of ALIL. So I don't know. I don't have a perfect answer for you.
Other comments, questions?
One quick question.
Yes.
So the minimum for memory care is 40. How many units will be available for that aging in place? Because I imagine all 200 wouldn't be able to convert into assisted living or memory care, or are they all?
No, I don't think all would be convertible.
Is there a number? Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have,
Services that you can have within IL versus.
And can I just ask, there are folks watching on television.
hear you.
This is being recorded. Would you please speak from the podium if you're going to speak?
sure. Again, this is Michael Mays with Greenbrier. So there'll be independent living, assisted living and memory care, assisted living and memory care falling under the same regulations. Even in our independent living units, we'll have the ability to convert some of those to assisted should we need to. But despite that, we'll be able to take care of a resident in an independent living that has care needs. So we often use home care partners that will come in, much like if somebody was in their house and they needed home health. And I mean, a lot of people age in place in their homes. That can take place within an independent living apartment. We have assisted living and memory care to help people transition. That's why we have them. But we do have residents that choose to stay in their independent living apartment to age in place. So it's not necessarily restrictive as to how much care they can have just because they're in independent living. I don't know if that.
There was a question raised earlier about skilled nursing. There's no plan for skilled nursing.
So we won't have any skilled nursing. as time has gone on in our business, we've been able to take care of, and the regulations have allowed us to take care of residents, albeit with more nursing oversight, to a higher acuity. Many of our residents never go into skilled nursing. They will either not go into skilled nursing at all, or perhaps they'll go right onto hospice. So somebody in assisted living, rather than them leaving us and going into skilled, they'll go right onto hospice.
Yeah, and
Can I-
I think with skilled nursing too, here in Virginia, what you're seeing is CCRCs are downsizing their skilled nursing, and it requires a certificate of need to put those in, and it's not likely to be forthcoming, so.
Follow up. Ms. Wainwright, are you good? Okay, so what you're saying is if you have a resident who's in independent living, for example, and they have a temporary medical problem, you will offer the service to them so that they're able to stay in their apartment. They'll be allowed additional nursing so that they're able to stay there while they work through that temporary issue.
That's correct.
Okay.
By regulation, we can't provide that because it's an unregulated area. Okay, it's just like, again, living in your home, being in
Right.
an apartment. But we'll have a home care partner that can provide skilled services within the unit.
Thank you.
If I could add, I just want to make sure I got this clear, so maybe you understand it as well, because this was a question that I wasn't sure about earlier. Under the current 2022 adopted master plan, they can have no more than 125 assisted living memory care. It says skilled nursing, but just assisted living memory care. No more than 125 and no more than 75 apartments. Total is 200, but under the way it's set up right now, under the existing, that if you had less than that average, for example, you went from 125 to 100 assisted living, you don't get to make it up by increasing the independent living. So you see 75 and 125, they're not interchangeable. And what they're looking for is apparently to have a minimum of 40. And when they want to increase it to 50 or 60 or 70, they just take some of the apartments off, so they still get to maintain the 200. So that's the difference. And I see where it gives them greater flexibility. I understand that. I think that the question that has bothered me is there is more of a penalty to not providing the assisted living under the existing one, because if they don't provide it, they lose those units. They don't get to swap out. So there's more, in my mind, there would be more of an incentive to have those units. And whereas now it's a greater flexibility for them, and it means that there's less incentive to provide what maybe our citizens might need or might want.
Any other questions? Any board discussion? If anybody want to say anything about it before we move to a vote?
I'll if nobody else wants to talk about it, I will. In the full disclosure, I was on the board when the original 2008 was done. I voted against it. I was on the board when the 2022 was done, and I voted against it. And I will go through and articulate the reasons why. But I want to go back to the original plan. And this is the thing that you learn something about land use. When you make a bad decision in land use, it haunts you forever. The land use decision goes with the land in perpetuity. We are the representatives of the citizens. We represent their best interests. When we screw it up, they live with it in perpetuity. So it's really, really important that we get it right. When this was first brought to us, it was way back in 2008, and there were two proposals by the Fords at that time. And I found it very interesting because One of them was a little place called Westport, which was on the other side of Centerville Road. It was outside the primary service area. They wanted us to bring it inside the primary service area. We declined. And after back and forth, they decided they were going to develop that by right, which at the time was 1 unit for 3 acres per unit. They put in a central well, did 3-acre lots, had public roads, and they had a little problem. They couldn't make it part of the Ford's Colony Master Plan because it didn't have compatible zoning. And being outside the primary service area, they couldn't achieve compatible zoning. So they just left it as, I believe, A1 or R8, I think, but they did make it part of the homeowners association. So if you live in Westport, you're not part of the master plan, but you're part of the homeowners association. Come down on the other side, down on News Road, and at the same time, there were the other thing that was going on was Ford's Village. This was inside the primary service area. It was zoned R8 at the time, and the attempt to do this was just the reverse. This was part of the master plan, but not specifically, pointedly, not part of the homeowners association. Why was that? The reason was because it was an artificial method by which they could achieve higher density than the comprehensive plan low density residential that was normally to be put on that property. It would be 1 unit to 4 units per acre maximum, depending on the benefit to the community, if we had stuck by the comprehensive plan and left it at low density residential. But they called it low density residential because we could take it against Ford's Colony, and you could put a whole bunch of density on a very small piece of property and wash it across all of Ford's Colony and still achieve the, quote, low density of having less than 2 units per acre across the whole community because it's considered part of the master plan. So I asked a question earlier today, and I got an answer back from staff. I think this originally started out at 700 and something units. I said, how many units could be put on that piece of property and still achieve 2 units per acre or less in Ford's Colony? And the answer is 1,226. You can see that this was not about being part of a master plan or not about being part of the community. It was all about how can you play with a system to achieve density that you normally wouldn't be allowed to achieve under our comprehensive plan. So that was one of the primary reasons I voted against it. The whole thing was terrible. Come along to what it is in 2022, and I will give them credit. It was a tremendous improvement because it reduced some of the large buildings. It reduced the numbers. It made a lot of improvements. It made a slight decrease, I think from 140 to 125 in the assisted living unit. There were other reasons that I will talk about in a minute, but that I didn't support it, although I thought it was a better product than the original. But when we looked at that program that came before us, I said, okay, let's put some things in it. We got the proffers put in because what was important to us, what was important to the community was not high-end housing. God knows we got enough of that. We need affordable housing. We don't have enough of that. We don't need high-end housing, but what we did need was we did need the assisted living facilities. And that was the selling point. And everybody said, okay, that's great. And we went from 140 to 125. Now, we've got basically the same thing that I voted against 4 years ago, but now it's down to 40. Now, it may be more than 40, but it basically there's no penalty, if you will, under the existing proffers. If they decide they want to change the numbers less, they just lose units. Now they just get to swap units. So that's an advantage to the developer. I understand the market. I understand that. The question I have is, what's the benefit to the community? Because we go right back to it. This board up here, we're elected. We are the representatives of the people, and we're here to represent their interests. We're negotiating on their behalf, and we've got to get it right. And one thing I've learned is you got to read the proffers and read them very carefully. Because if you don't have it in writing, you don't have it. And sometimes when you do have it in writing, you don't have it. And what I look at is what's the worst case scenario? And the worst case scenario for me here is that we approve this tonight, and then the market changes again, and the people who are going to do the CCRC say, well, you know what? It's not going to work for us. We're going to pull the plug on it again. And now we're back to square one. And I've seen stranger things happen. So that's the history of it. When you look at the density on this, I'll skim through this basically. Essentially, the total acreage, developable acreage on the site, I think is about 94 acres. You know, and I took a look just at the land bays and how much land was in each land bay, because I sort of didn't count the extra land that's on the buffers along the road, but although they do get to count them. But essentially, the overall density on the developable or plotted is about over 6 units per acre. If you throw in all the extra buffers, it drops down to about 4.5, almost 4.5 to 5, between 4.5 and 5 units per acre. If you take a look at that site, that density is too high for that. This is one of those sites that's 177 acres, of which 93 or 94 is developable. You got a tremendous amount of steep slopes, wetlands, and RPA. And the other thing I'll tell you is that the density proposed is not compatible with the neighboring communities. I will tell you that I think the biggest concern I have is the watershed. And I'm going to go back real quick to what transpired back in the original, back in 2008. Back in 2008, there was a proffer that said, the owner shall submit a stream monitoring plan to the Environmental Division, providing a baseline assessment of the existing condition of the stream segments, and provide annual monitoring beginning on the date of the issuance of the certificate of occupancy for 10 years to detect the presence of new erosion, and that the owner shall install additional upstream runoff control measures to prevent further erosion. That was one thing we put in because we were concerned about the environmental aspects of it. That got pulled out in 2022. Why does that concern me? Well, we are in watershed 209 on the Powder Creek watershed. The bulk of the property is in that sub-watershed. Some of it's over on the main stem. Essentially, we are at the point where we are already over the 25% threshold. It takes us from where we have reasonable streams or maybe slightly degraded streams to where essentially it says the streams become simply stormwater conduits that can no longer support a diverse stream community. That's where we are. That's where we are with the sub-watershed right now. Before we add this. Traffic is the other issue that I've had a lot of people talk to me about. I was talking to somebody about today. I think we get about 15,000 average weekday trips on Long Hill Road, where we've just gone to 4 lanes and some roundabouts. The traffic on this one, although it will be less now than it was on that it was projected 4 years ago, still is about a 20% increase out as far as out Monticello to Powhatan Secondary, and about a 30% increase from Monticello Powhatan Secondary out to Firestone. That's a 2-lane narrow road. People come whipping around there. That traffic is going to create problems for us. We have proffers for 2 traffic lights. If they meet the proffers, I seriously doubt they will. And there's a likelihood of a second entrance approved by VDOT, but that right now it basically says that the second entrance is for a construction and that it can be converted, but it has to get VDOT approval to do so. Again, if you want to read the proffers in detail. The only thing I'll sum up with is that this is better than it was in 2008. It's worse than it was in 2022. It's not compatible with low-density residential call for the comp plan. The density is not compatible with the character of the neighboring communities. The density and the impervious cover are too great for the property. It's likely to have an adverse impact on the surrounding environment. It's a part of the master plan that's completely unrelated to the community whose name it bears. And, you know, it's a substantial increase in traffic. So I unfortunately can't see a whole lot here that would want to change my vote. I probably will not be able to support this tonight.
I remember this came to us when I was on the planning commission, and I was extremely upset about not having a second road in there, the second entrance, because I just don't think anybody should be building anything without two entrances, two exits, just from a safety standpoint, which is a big deal with me. And I had mentioned that, and they said, well, we'll just turn our construction road into another entrance. So I figured that was out of there. I didn't know it came back to the board without it. So, happy. Yeah.
Other comments? If not, I'll just say that I did not support the amendment in 2022, and I find this application to be less attractive than that one was. I am concerned about the fact that there's really no effort to address affordable housing in this proposal. It doesn't have to be on-site, it can be off-site, but it has to be addressed, and it fails on that ground. In a lot of cases, what was proffered before is now optional, and I don't find that to be particularly attractive either, so I'll not be supporting this proposal tonight. Anybody else want to say anything, or do we want to go ahead to a motion?
Can I ask a question about the proffer of the land, the soil, everything being?
Back in the 2008 proffer?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess staff would probably be the most appropriate to ask that question of, because I remember when it was removed, and I questioned it at the time, and basically, you know, we're told that no, we didn't think it was needed anymore.
Yes, so the proffer about the stream restoration, during the 2022 application, that change was reviewed by the Stormwater and Resource Protection Division, and they found that they'd be able to ensure that erosion concerns were adequately addressed throughout the development process, from the master stormwater plan to the site plan, and then to the inspection process as construction begins. So they felt that they would still be able to manage those concerns.
Mr. Getty?
Point in this project, it has a fully engineered and approved master stormwater plan that's been reviewed by SRP and approved and consistent with the proffers in accordance with all up-to-date environmental requirements. And I think we do in fact have two entrances.
Get clarity on the two entrances.
You wanted clarity on the two entrances?
The two entrances, whether it is dependent on VDOT's approval or whether it is
Yeah, I think that's not
guaranteed.
that's
It
not
says-
in doubt, is it? That it would require VDOT approval?
I'll give you the specific language. It says, prior to approval, any site subdivision plans for development on the property, there shall be an updated traffic signal warrant analysis for News Road, blah, blah, blah. If the updated analysis shows the signal is, okay, that's signal. Let me find the other one here. at the main, I know I had it here. Second entrance to the property shall be located in the general location shown in the master plan and shall be limited by gate to emergency access only unless and until an updated traffic study identifying the impacts of a full entrance is submitted to and reviewed and approved by VDOT and the county.
Good evening.
Mr. Holt.
Don't have an update for you on that one tonight. We would have to go back and see what is on the VDOT approved construction plans for that one. Would be happy to do that and get back with you, but we don't have that information ready and with us tonight from staff side.
So I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so we have choice now. We can have a motion to approve the amendment, to deny the amendment, or to defer a final decision until you have
I think I would move to defer the final decision until we know that information, and also see if the applicant is amenable to continuing to work, especially with the supervisor whose district it's in, to see if there might be some, maybe not, but there might be some ground that you might be able to find. That would be my motion.
Okay, so there's a motion to defer to any particular.
April?
Yeah, we just reproduce this
All right, we're gonna have
agenda
3 in
for
April.
We have 3 in April.
Okay, okay. Well, I know that they probably, May? Yeah.
So there's a motion to defer action on this until our May meeting, which would be May 12th.
May 12th.
Okay.
That's my motion.
All right. Mr. Stevens, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Eisenhower?
No.
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Ms. Null?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
No.
Motion carries.
Okay. We'll now move on to our next item. This is a public hearing that I will be opening tonight. It is Z 230004, MP 230001, Westwood Park rezoning. Just a reminder, we will not be having presentations tonight, though the hearing will be opened if people are hoping to address this particular case. They might be well advised to wait until our April 14th meeting, because if you speak tonight, then you would not be able to speak at that particular event. You could, of course, submit written comment to the board at any time. So with that, I will open the public hearing and keep it open until April 14th. Okay, now move on to the next item, which is short-term. I'll go over here.
Short-term rental compliance
Thank you.
review for
Thank you.
certain special use
I was
permits.
just reading it off of the screen there, and the screen was disappearing on me. So it is, yes, short-term rental compliance review for certain special use permits. And that will be Christy Parrish. Ms.
Thank you,
Parrish,
Mr.
nice to see you.
Chair, members of the board. The Board of Supervisors previously approved special use permit for short-term rentals for 6 properties located at 4711 Rochambeau Drive, 2878 Monticello Avenue, 2886 Lake Powell Road, 2884 Chickahominy Road, 2868 Lake Powell Road, and 2884 Lake Powell Road. For each of these applications, the board adopted a condition which requires a compliance review at the February 2026 meeting as a public hearing at no cost to the property owners. As required also in this condition, prior to November 28, 2005, each property owner or their agent has requested continuance of their special use permit and has provided a statement that the use and the property are in compliance with all conditions. Staff conducted a review of each property and detailed summary has been provided in the staff report for you. However, all reported rental listings which advertised more bedrooms or more occupancies that was allowed by the respective special use permit has been corrected. As of today, the Commissioner of Revenue reports that 2884 Chickahominy Road and 2868 Lake Powell Road remain out of compliance. However, they have been in contact with the owners. Following tonight's public hearing, the special use permit requires that the board determine whether to initiate proceedings to revoke the special use permit due to incompatibility with the surrounding neighborhood, violation of the special use permit condition, or any other reason related to health, safety, and welfare of the community, or instead may set a new compliance date. Since that time of the original approvals, the Code of Virginia has been amended to now allow localities to establish a sunset clause in special use permit for the short-term rental use. That is now used for all short-term rental cases. Staff looks forward to discussing the matter with the board and receiving directions on the next step. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
We have no comment from from the Planning Commission on this item. So any questions for Ms. Parrish?
So I just want to thank you for this report, and I appreciate it. I was curious, I don't know if you did this or somebody gave us some information, and in one of the, there said, I've not received any coupon books.
That is through the Commissioner of Revenue's office.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't know a whole lot about that process, but I know that they're in talks with the Commissioner of Revenue, and hopefully that will be straightened out to where I think there's confusion that Airbnb pays it, but I don't believe that that's the case. They're still supposed to send in those coupon books and serve and pay the applicable taxes, but that's handled all through the Commissioner of Revenue, but I do know that they're in contact with them.
Okay. So, and then if we wanted to do, so we could say to you, all right, can you bring us the same report in a year? Okay. And then, however, I am interested in the two that have not, and I understand there's extenuating circumstances, so I'm not looking, Ruth, I'm not looking to revoke, but I am looking for there to be a further report to come back to us about these two.
You know, an idea could be you could continue the public hearing tonight and recommend that staff draft new resolutions for each of them.
Okay.
And then you can certainly add the compliance clause as we do now, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year.
Okay.
I think it's usually 3 years.
Okay.
So then that way that will come back to you
Okay.
every so often and so forth.
Yeah, I guess I'm okay with 3 years, especially the ones that are compliant, which is great. But the two that are mentioned where the taxes, I would like another report sooner rather than later.
Right. And we can recommend and reach back out to those two property owners that they rectify the issue prior to that adoption of the next resolution.
Okay.
That will give them, you know, a few weeks in order to do that if you want them back at your next meeting.
I wanted to make sure that those two are the ones that you had the notes 1 and 2, correct? Okay. And so we just don't know the status. We just apparently, we need to have more information about whether or not they've actually paid anything. I mean, 'cause it sounds like nothing has been paid.
That's my understanding. While I can't totally speak for the commissioner, I know that they received their business license, but the follow-up with the monthly lodging taxes or filings, coupon books, has not been done. And that may be a confusion between the Commissioner of Revenue's office in this particular, but we can certainly work to make sure that that communication gap is filled and that when they come back, they're in compliance up until thus far.
Recommend that we just defer it for like 30 days?
Sure. I mean,
Will
you can
come back
recommend
with us?
deferral of the public hearing so it doesn't have to be re-advertised, and recommend that we bring back the resolutions for your consideration. And by that time, I will have a report whether or not those two in particular have rectified all their issues with the Commissioner of Revenue's office.
Would you be bringing back individual resolutions for each one of these 5?
I would suggest yes, and then that way
Okay.
they're kind of in conformance with the other ones that you have adopted since the state code change.
Or could we just do the 4 that are good tonight and defer those 2?
And we don't have the resolutions available since this
Okay.
was a direction point. And the public hearing, it was required per the SUP. That's why I'm just recommending.
So we
if
leave the
that's
public
okay.
hearing open?
Public hearing open for.
Well, I'm going to defer to Adam if I
Yes,
misspoke.
I'm gonna open the public hearing, right? So that we don't have to advertise again, and just keep it open till our next meeting. And I think that was what I heard was our next meeting. Is that our next regular meeting?
Next regular meeting,
regular
so
meeting.
in March,
Yeah, March 10th.
if that's satisfactory.
So let me ask you a question. You say every 3 years. Is it possible if you've got 2 where we've got, that they, 2 could be more frequently? We could get like a check-in that, yep, everybody's got the coupon book now and we're straight. And then make that decision in a year, okay, we'll put them on 2, bring them in line with everybody else.
I'm sure we can get creative between now
Okay.
and March to bring
Okay.
back.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Thank you, Ms. Parrish. And so I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Do we have any speaker cards? We do. Okay, great. Okay, the first speaker card is Heather, looks like Waltrip. No? Oh, I'm sorry. Wyatt, I'm sorry, Wyatt, sorry. Yes,
Heather Wyant, I'm for 4711 Rochambeau.
yes.
I don't really know. We like doing the short-term rental. We'd like to continue. I'm just here for any questions you may have.
Questions for the? Thank you. Next is Jill.
Thank you.
Russett? Okay, thank you. Dina Waltrip. And again, if you'd like to speak tonight, you can do that. If you want to wait until the next meeting, you can speak then.
I'm all right. I've been here all night, so I'll just go ahead and do it if that's
That's
okay.
fine. That's fine. That's fine.
No
Ms. Waltrip.
offense.
And we have your letter too.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Dina Waltrip, 2884 Lake Powell Road. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I'm here in the hopes of continued support of the short-term rental SUP granted to me back in 2023. In that year, in 2024, I had a few renters. Everything was good, no problems. In 2025, however, my home wasn't rented at all due to I had major surgeries, a lot of infections. I included a stint in ICU for sepsis. So 2025 was a no-go because needless to say, I wasn't up to having guests. So after about almost 10 months, I'm back to work full-time at JCSA, and thank y'all for what y'all did earlier. Yes, been there over 25 years. But during this past 3 years, I have been in total compliance and have followed all rules and regulations. I haven't had or heard of any complaints or concerns from the surrounding community. And seeing that all of them are my family, believe me, I would have heard something about it. So I'm hoping for renewal of the SUP so that I can get back to what I enjoy doing, which is meeting new people and showing them our wonderful town and all that it has to offer here for everybody. So just take in consideration that these SUPs and the short-term rentals are a great thing for us. So if y'all have any questions for me.
Well, I'll just say that I think the people that were going to speak tonight we're all in compliance, but on a personal level, I'm really glad to see you. I'm really glad you feel like renting out your home, and I'm glad you're back to JCSA.
Thank
You
you.
are the backbone of that place, and what would we do without you standing in that kitchen? So,
Oh, I'm not a cook, by the way.
no, that's just a small
She's talking
part
about
of
the
her
Christmas lunches.
hospitality. That's
But I
right.
do appreciate, that means a lot to me. I didn't think I was ever gonna make it back there, but, so anyway, thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Ms. Waltrip. Emily Martell? Yes, no?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Emily Martell. I'm at 2886 Lake Powell Road. First and foremost, I want to thank you for, back in 2023, approving our short-term rental. Over the past several years, my family and I have really enjoyed opening up our home to people coming into our community. We are currently in compliance and will continue to do so with whatever comes forth tonight. So I am here asking to continue with our short-term rental.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your,
Can I make a statement on the coupons?
sure.
They
It
are
would-
very
It would help us to understand, I think.
they're very confusing. As people, so with Airbnb, our taxes and fees do come out. There's 5%, Virginia 7%, James City County, that might be reversed, and then $2 per room. And we are supposed to write that out on coupon cards with the amount of people and renters month to month and to turn it in. When we do that, because it's through our platform of Airbnb, our total is like zero because it's already paid for. You have to go in person to turn those in. You have to go in or mail them in. It's not an easy platform to do online. So if time or getting around is difficult, that's a month-to-month struggle sometimes. Because you know you have to sit down, you have to go through it all, and more often than not, they total out at zero. So it's confusing as to why we're doing it. But I get that they want to know how many people are coming in and the number of everything, and we'll continue to do so.
So this sounds like it may be a recommendation we could advance to the commissioner to have a sit-down with you all.
I would
discuss.
absolutely love to have a sit down. Also, making it available online would make a lot of people's life easier. So just want to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the last speaker card. So I will keep the public hearing open until our next regular board meeting on March 10th, and look for staff to be as creative as they always are in addressing these issues. And that concludes our public hearings for this evening. We have no board considerations. Board requests and directives. Ms. Wainwright, would you like to start us off? Anything you want to?
So not quite as busy of a 2 weeks since our last meeting, but still lots of training. I was very grateful to meet with the last two departments, so IT and the fire department. I enjoyed a very detailed 2-hour meeting with our fire chief and a tour of Station 3. And then, of course, we all benefited from Local Government Day. Up at the General Assembly, getting to meet our local representatives and talk to them about our concerns. So.
Thank you.
Is it just with me, or is the VACO thing and the government day up in Richmond? And VACO did a really nice presentation, I think, on a lot of stuff. And I, got my head rolling when I got home to look it all up. But it was a great day and appreciated that. And seeing everybody was good too. So thanks.
Hey, just three things since the last meeting. On January 30th, we had the ribbon cutting at the Hound's Tail.
Oh, I was there.
Which moved from city out to James City County, and they went in where the Baker's Crust used to be. So that's now, it's a very interesting place. I invite everybody to come by and take a look at it. I found it rather warm and welcoming. I think you were there with me. I think Ruth, were you there?
We had a meeting here.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Oh, I was there with you.
Just the two of us, I guess. So, and then on February the 2nd, I had I had been called over to talk to some folks in the Muse with regard to the development proposal for Cardinal Ridge, and I went back. I went over a few days earlier. Went back on February the 2nd and attended a meeting of the Homeowners Association. Probably had about 50 or 60 people in the clubhouse room, and they actually streamed it to people in their homes. So we got good turnout. So a lot of concerns, and I told them that's what your board's here for. So that's why you've been getting all the emails. And then on February the 4th, I had the opportunity to speak to the Colonial Capital Kiwanis up at Sandy's Pancake House. And as usual, had a very, very good reception and a lot of good spirited questions and answers. So enjoyed that tremendously. I now have, I think, my 4th Kiwanis Club. A couple more speeches and I'll have a full matching set.
We've had school liaison meetings since Ms. Wainwright and Mr. Stevens. That was, I thought, a very good meeting. And we've got a budget update, which we also got Friday at our joint meeting. We'll continue with those, I think. And then we had a meeting with the group about the Ambler House, and we'll have a presentation. Is that at our next meeting? We'll have a presentation about some of the research that they have found. And then the chair and I had a meeting with Mr. Lemke from Busch Gardens. And then starting last Wednesday, I was in Richmond for VACO and had our VACO board meeting and legislative day. And then I participated in the chair and vice chair institute. Always learn something. One thing I thought was interesting, that's a piece of advice somebody had, was if you're getting ready to send an email, don't send it until you can read it with no emotion, which I thought was a very good piece of advice. So I maybe should have taken it this past weekend when I sent some emails. Because I'll be frank, I'm worried about some legislation that we learned about a while ago, but we learned about even more in Richmond. And I talked about it at the last meeting. I'll talk about it, and we're hoping to go to Richmond this Friday and have a conversation about local officials being and local staff and all of us working together to make decisions that directly impact citizens that live here. And there's a variety of reasons why we should be the ones that ultimately make those decisions. I'm also, frankly, worried about the map that has come out on the congressional redistricting. What concerns me is right now, I think we have a pretty good mix that we're with. We have some like areas and some not like areas, and I think that's what, that's good, that we learn from each other. But we are going into at least it seems, where we would have Stonehouse A and C in Congressional District 8 and the rest of us in 4, and we would frankly be with counties of more of a rural nature than James City, and that does concern me. And so I don't know is that the final map that is going forward, Mr. Lawyer? Mr.
It is
Bipartisan professor?
It is not the final map until it is all signed and approved through the entire process, which includes the judiciary at this point. And so I'd say we just are
Okay,
gonna-
so read my emails without emotion.
That's right.
Or rental, yeah. But I just say this because Ms. Wainwright and I were talking prior to the meeting about, I had I'm sorry, I'll get back to that in just a second. I had a call today with a scout who had to do, for their citizenship badge, had to talk to somebody in government. And we were talking about the government center. And the question was, why didn't you tell anybody? And I said, we started talking about this in 2020. And this is how many times we've talked about it and how many meetings. And I want to thank Brad for providing me with that information a few months ago about how many articles we've had and, so forth and so on. But as we talked about earlier this evening, maybe people are not paying attention as much as they need to. And I would just urge you to pay attention. I know everybody's busy. Everybody's got a lot of things going on, but there are things that are going to impact you that are happening right now in Richmond and things that are happening here. And so it's just really important that you tune in and pay attention and look at our agendas that are online and look at what's happening in the General Assembly and what's happening at the federal level. Stay engaged.
Yes, and those are good points. I would just say on the redistricting matter, we have often found ourselves in situations where our voice is dispersed. For instance, we can look at the fact that we have a state senate district that includes most of the county, but not all of it.
Yes.
And in neither case are we the dominant population. Our House of Delegates delegation splits the county, and we have a population that is about equivalent to one seat in the House of Delegates for our county alone. So it really behooves us to pay more attention to some of those political decisions that are made, whether it's by a bipartisan or nonpartisan citizens commission or by legislative action. Those do make a difference. We've been in congressional districts. We've been moved in and out of districts plenty of times over the years, and so this is to me not anything particularly new. In fact, the district that apparently most of the county will be in is more heavily reflective of Richmond than it is of rural counties in terms of population. Now, size, acreage is a different matter, and,
Yeah.
and the acreage does make it look like it's a very rural district, but in fact, it's more urban suburban than that. Assuming that all that happens, we would need to make sure that we touch base with our representatives. And in some cases, it's not bad to have your jurisdiction split so that you have influence over more than one member of the Senate or of the House of Delegates. And we've been able to use that successfully in a couple of instances. And while we're talking about the General Assembly, because we did spend a lot of time, energy, and effort going to VACO's local government day and visiting with our local legislators. Just an expression of thanks to our Senator Diggs, who represents just one Roberts precinct in James City County, but sponsored legislation that, of course, benefited your county as well as us. Yeah. We are no longer the two jurisdictions in the state that do not have the right to an admissions tax, assuming the governor signs the legislation that's moving through. And the House of Delegates also passed that bill, Delegate Anderson supporting that, sponsoring that piece of legislation. Again, all of that's a good sign that we were able to get fair and equitable treatment by the General Assembly on that particular matter. And I'd also just point out that in addition to our visiting with the legislators and then attending the VACO presentation, we also had a meeting of the Coalition of High Growth Communities where we are actively lobbying on many of those land use issues that the legislature seems intent on shifting. But the good news is that at least to some degree, our message seems to be getting through, as some pieces of legislation that are particularly concerning seem to be getting either revised or removed from the docket for this year, and giving us an opportunity to work hard to make sure that those members of the General Assembly who either don't have local government experience or have forgotten it as they've moved into these different positions, it's something that we really ought to be actively working on. And certainly the coalition will be doing that. I know VACO will be doing it, and I want to give credit to Joe Lurch, who is the chief of the legislative efforts for VACO. Joe was vilified by some legislators and just really became a punching bag over the course of the last month or so. But he withstood it and is working hard to educate the General Assembly on the fact that we don't control when a developer who's been giving, and as tonight's meeting described, when a developer who's been given permission to do a development actually engages and builds a house that is occupied. We have thousands upon thousands of pre-approved lots, and we can't tell the builder, you have to build this, unless they have allowed us to put in a proffer that says, if this doesn't happen by this date, then, all bets are off. And so then finally, I just wanted to make reference to our joint meeting with the school board and the city of Williamsburg. As others have mentioned, we all attended that session, which I thought was very informative, but most importantly, where we've demonstrated, I think that coming out of contentious, sometimes confusing situation about whether or not we would continue with a contract with the city of Williamsburg, that all three of our boards are now much more collaborative and understanding of the needs of the locality. So with that, I just will turn it over to Mr. Stevens for County Administrator's report.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, just a couple items. I do want to mention our rec center pool reopened February 2nd. We're excited to have that back. I do want to say thank you to our patrons for their patience. The project took a few months longer than we had anticipated, but it's an updated look, a better use of space, and the feedback thus far has been very positive. So look forward to hearing more of our feedback from those using the pool facility. We do have a ribbon cutting scheduled for Friday, February 20th at 12:30, so a week away or a couple weeks after the opening, but it still ought to be a good event. And again, we'll celebrate the reopening of the pool. I'd also like to mention we recently launched the James City County Fix-It app, and it's an app for your phone or you can access through your desktop computer, where you can now report issues as litter complaints, park maintenance, uneven sidewalks, and other things that people see in the community that they would like addressed. They can track progress. They will get real-time updates from county departments as they assess or correct those issues. It is available for download. James City County Fix-It will get you to the app, or residents can again access them through their desktop by going to the county website and searching for our Fix-It app. So excited to have that out there as well, and we'll see if our residents enjoy using that tool. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you. So we're now at the point of a closed session. I would ask, before I ask if we want to go into closed session, that if anybody feels we want to take a break, we can do that.
Yes, please.
5 minutes?
Okay, sure. So we'll recess for 5 minutes and then come back for the resolution on the closed session. And I will look for a motion for a closed meeting to discuss the consideration of the acquisition of real property for a public purpose where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect bargaining position of the county or negotiating strategy of the public body pursuant to Section 2.23711A3 of the Code of Virginia and pertaining to 111 Grove Heights Avenue, Williamsburg, Virginia.
So moved?
We have a motion. Mr. Stevens, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. McLennan?
Aye. Go into closed session. Back into session, and I'll look for a motion to certify.
Chair, I certify that we only spoke about those things we said we would.
Mr. Stevens, you call the roll, please.
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And I need a motion to adjourn to
So moved.
1 o'clock on February 12th. Is that right? Yeah.
Board retreat.
For the board retreat.
Oh, 1 o'clock.
February 12th.
They moved it.
Oh, okay. It is.
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Aye.